Now, to no surprise to absolutely anybody, a semi-decent player is now available in a potential free agency signing. And of course, the name starts circulating around Bills Mafia. It's funny. Listen, if you ever have a player that has ever once been good in the league or is above average, you always see these headlines around the fan base, around the media. A lot of talking heads start to pick it up. And particularly the player in question is CJ Gardner Johnson. I'm sure all of you can read where I suggested, should the Buffalo Bills risk their culture and sign CJ Gardner Johnson? So on today's episode, I'm going to be unpacking what he could potentially bring to this defense. And then more importantly, really taking a deep dive into his history of being known as a locker room cancer. Folks, I have receipts. And I know that a lot of people are probably saying, oh, come on, man. Like, think of what him and Cole Bishop could look like together. Or think of what him and Taylor Rapp could look like together. And we're going to go through each and every single one of his instances, his alleged instances, and then we could all come to a conclusion ourselves. But folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up sign. It is hands down the easiest way to show love over here on the channel. I am live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. EST, bringing you all of the latest news, tidbits coming from your favorite team in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills, as well as many other storylines across the NFL. Also, do me a favor. I am nosy. I want to understand how far this fan base truly extends. Where are you tuning in from? Where on this global rock that we're floating on in the middle of the space are you tapping in from, guys? Roll call in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and let's get down to business. I need to go ahead and give a giant shout out to our good friends over at Sleeper. Folks, if you are looking for the #1 player prop picks platform on the market today, it's got to be Sleeper. It's very simple. All you do is pick anywhere between 2 to 6 players, and you predict whether or not that they go over or under their projected stat line, whether or not it's receptions, passing yards, sacks, what have you. Cook up one of the perfect parlays, and you could see returns up to 1,000x if you truly know ball. The best thing is that they are matching 100% of your first deposit, all the way up to $100, as long as you end up utilizing code DONMAFIA. So go on ahead, check out Sleeper, guys, and send me your parlays over on X too, because you know what? Like, I've been cooking for the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. Last week, I got shafted. I'm not going to lie to you, all right? I had way too much faith in Derrick Henry being the first touchdown on Monday Night Football. He was the first player to score a touchdown for the Ravens, but unfortunately, it was the Lions offense just picking it on up when it came into it. So check out Sleeper and let me know some of your parlays going on into the season. Folks, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up sign, roll call in the chat right now. Do not be shy. I'm talking to all of the lurkers in the building. Where are you tuning in from? Hi, Dan. Drew, what's going on, man? How you doing? No, CJ's a bum. Don't worry, we're about to get to that here momentarily. We have Athens, Tennessee is in the building. Go Bills and go 49ers. I'm a 49ers fan. Welcome to the show, Eric. I appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in. We have Michael Young is tapping in from Baltimore. New York, Germany is in the building. SA74. Hope all is well with you, my friend. We have Buffalo, New York. We have Iowa. Baltimore is in the building. Sweden, Memphis. What's going on, Mike? Hope all is well there. Coconut Creek, South Carolina. Rochester, New York is in the building. How about Mississippi? Chris Walker, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. New York is in the building. Spring Hill, Tennessee. Guys, do not be shy. Let me know. Let me know. Where are you tuning in from? Wyoming is in the building. Nevada is in the building. New York, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Andrew, funny enough, I lived there for the vast majority of my life, from the time I was 13 years old until about 3 years ago. So I am certainly familiar with that area. My folks actually still live there. Wyoming is in the building. Wyoming again. We got Brazil in the building. Canada all over the place. Buffalo, Fresno, California, right in the backyard of Josh Allen, QB1. Man, it always blows my mind how far Bills Mafia truly is. Like, we see Germany in the chat very oftentimes. I see like New Zealand in the building. I'm pretty sure I've seen Egypt before as well. Like, Bills Mafia is truly global, and that is absolutely incredible. You got to love to see it. But folks, right before we end up getting into CJ Gardner Johnson, and trust me, I have a presentation for you. okay, as far as his history of the type of player that he is. However, I have to start the show with something that completely shocked me. Folks, we all know who Nick Wright is, right? Longtime Josh Allen critic, a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, and just about all of his takes are centralized around the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are peak and Patrick Mahomes is arguably one of the best to ever do it. So, with that being said, I guess that there was some sense of rivalry. And he always has this thing called the QB Mountain, where he ends up ranking each and every single quarterback in the league. Dude even named it the Mahomes Mountain. Well, folks, this morning I woke up and I had to pinch myself and to make sure that I was not dreaming or to make sure that somebody didn't drug me this morning. Because when I pulled up the Mahomes Mountain, who is on top, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not lying to you. It is Josh Allen. Josh Allen, according to Nick Wright, is the best quarterback in the NFL through 3 weeks of the season. And you know what? I love to see things like this because recently I've been hopping on the bandwagon and I have been defending this with my whole being on every single show that you see me on YouTube. I have been saying for quite a bit of time, when you were discussing quality of quarterbacks in the NFL, it has always been that it's Patrick Mahomes, significant gap, and everybody else. Normally, somebody would put Josh's name there and Lamar's. Now I genuinely believe that it is Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, significant gap, followed by Patrick Mahomes afterwards. The tides are shifting. Where it stands, this Kansas City Chiefs team is 1-2. They are in a very dangerous position to potentially go 1-3. Their offensive line is absolutely awful. Their offensive weapons are dealing with injuries and suspensions, so I'm sure they'll end up turning it around. But seeing Josh Allen on the top, it's about damn time that people are finally starting to accept the fact that this guy has done the impossible. Can we stop for a moment and give flowers to the quarterback that has beat every single piece of negative propaganda that has been attached to him since he has been in the league by itself? I feel like we owe him that because not only when he was about to be drafted, how many headlines did you see? One that is familiar to myself is if Josh Allen succeeds, then the Buffalo Bills have defied all expert opinions, including mathematics itself. He completely turned around his game. He completely shifted over his mechanics. Folks, again, how Josh Allen has improved his accuracy or how he did from going into year 2 to year 3, that 2020 season, is unheard of. And it has brainwashed the rest of the NFL thinking that they can do the exact same thing with some of these prospects that have question marks coming out of college. Right now, you're seeing the exact same thing with Jackson Dart, right? A lot of Giants fans are attempting to put the pieces together. They're like, oh my God, man, we have Brian Dable, right? He had Josh Allen his first 2 years. He's going to be able to recover this kid and make it happen. We heard it about Anthony Richardson, right? We heard it about Trey Lance. It's like, yeah, these guys, like they struggled in college in the accuracy department, but look at what Josh Allen was able to do. That is an anomaly, folks. What Josh Allen was able to do was an anomaly. And I think that eventually NFL organizations are going to start buying into that. I'm rooting for the kid Jackson Dart, but say, for example, that I ever hear, oh my God, he's the next Josh Allen. There is not going to be another Josh Allen in this league for the rest of my lifetime. And so I know that. He's such an anomaly. But then additional flowers that I want to give to the quarterback here. What was the one thing that people always turn to that we're still in denial of Josh Allen's ability to be one of the best QBs in the league, or dare I say the best? Everybody still had the turnover problem. Everybody did, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, like no wonder Josh didn't win MVP in 2023. He threw 15 picks, right? Like he was always fluctuating between, 10 to 15 interceptions each and every single week. As soon as you enter Joe Brady into the conversation, where did they go? Man? Like last year he had 6. This year he's gone 3 games without a turnover again. He's making incredible decisions. He's taking what the defense gives him, and he's still making absolutely mind-blowing throws, mind-blowing plays all over the field, but he's being choosier and when he executes it. All of the critics for Josh Allen, all of their ammo is completely gone. It's completely evaporated as far as the player that he is. And miss me with the whole ring thing. Miss me with the whole ring thing. Last time I checked, there's 53 men on each and every single NFL roster. And a lot of it has to do with key plays that involve everybody on the field, the entire roster, quality of depth, quality of competency with your coaching staff. So at the end of the day, I am just exceptionally pleased that now we are finally starting to see the inevitable right out in the forefront. Well-deserved Josh, finally getting the recognition that I believe that you do need. And here we go. We have Richie calling me real fast. The Richinator. What up, man? I'm live. Good morning. What can I do for you? No, you're not. I did inadvertently. Yeah. If you can just change the card information, then that would be good. Like, I'm not worried about the $100, but if we can just grab my card off of that, then that's fine. All right, Rich. We'll see you soon. Sorry, folks. Little business situation. However, in conclusion, very pleased that finally people are starting to buy in to what is reasonable at the end of the day. Hello from Livingston County, New York. Since there's no football today, we are going to the horse races. Enjoy. Nothing like a good old horse race. Caught the AFC South Roundtable yesterday. It was a good time. Colts fans are absolutely insane. They are dominating that show. Mahomes' attribute right now is his legs, and that's a problem. Yeah, he's missing his top two wide receivers, but that's something you need to overcome if you are a great team. Yes, they are good, but no longer great. Look, like when I looked at the Kansas City Chiefs last year, and like I know, like when it comes into discussing the Kansas City Chiefs or critiquing them in any way imaginable, it is a cardinal sin. Like you are metaphorically crucified if you say anything negative about Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs organization. But I will continue to say this because I believe throughout 3 weeks of the NFL season, so far I've been correct. Last year, when they won an absurd amount of one-score games, oftentimes decided with 3 or less points each and every single matchup, that was statistically impossible. That has never been done before, where a team won all 11, all 12 of their very, very close games. A lot of it has to do with talent. A lot of it has to do with quarterback play and coaching. But don't be delusional and come out and say that luck didn't play a factor in quite a few of those matchups. If you were to reverse all of those close games, they could have had a significantly losing record. Crazy. I think that their luck has run out. And I feel like it's the exact same sentiment when CJ Stroud was going off his rookie season and Houston Texans fans were really happy about his performance. I pointed out, I said, look, yes, he has 6 interceptions. I understand that. I acknowledge that. I'm happy for the young man. But I want you to look at his turnover-worthy throws. A lot of it had to do with luck. And what happened? He came right back down to reality year 2. And CJ Stroud's out there playing like a damn, a D2 college football quarterback right now. Like that's basically how it plays out. But we shall see. And the Chargers and Eagles defenses are much better than the teams the Buffalo Bills have played. We have Axel. He is crying himself to sleep. Beers and wings on Dan's card. I didn't tell you my number. I didn't tell you my card number, y'all. We have Sunsy, Buffalo, baby. I'm from Baltimore too. Perry Hall represent. Look at that. Okay. So why is everybody in here? I'll tell you why. because CJ Gardner Johnson is now a free agent. And people look at our safety room and they're just like, Dan, we got to fix this safety room right now, man. It's going to ruin our season, man. So what should we do? Should we go after CJ Gardner Johnson? Very good safety. In 2021, he led the NFL in interceptions, as a matter of fact. Following year, he got injured while he was in Detroit. He only played 3 games. He tore his pec, I wanted to say. That ultimately ended up ending his season. Signed a 3-year contract with Philadelphia last year. Played relatively well. Solid defense. Quality situation there. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, after signing him to a 3-year, $33 million contract, they traded him for a pick swap with the Houston Texans, which at the very least should raise a red flag. Houston then ended up not only trading for him, walking away from assets, but restructuring his deal, giving him even more money. And then after 3 games, I understand they're 0-3. I get that. But you're going to tell me a guy that you ended up inheriting a 3-year contract, 2 years left on the deal, obviously, you're going to just let him walk? There's red flags, and I'm going to remind you of them. Because one thing, I love Bills Mafia more than anything. I do. But a lot of us have short memories. What do we truly think has been the culture shifter from this team? I'd argue Stephon Diggs, right? Like, now that he's been gone for a couple of years, we're starting to like learn a bit more about what this guy is, right? Or like what he was to this locker room. And I think that we can all acknowledge the second that he was no longer on this team, we're looking around, we're like, oh my God, like, where has this Buffalo Bills team been? Where is this everybody eats mentality? Why does everyone seem to be happy and the whole nine? And I think a lot of us have forgotten about that, right? Where we're looking at the situation and we're just like, oh, well, CJ Gardner Johnson, yeah, dude, like, he's a quality player. He's a Super Bowl winning safety. Like, who cares? We can destroy our culture. Who remembers like those last couple of years with Stephon Diggs? Like, who genuinely remembers that? I don't like to remember that, because that team, like, you could just tell based off of post-game press conferences, based off of energy, something was wrong with the team. And the second you subtracted him from the locker room, everything started to look up. I think the culture in Buffalo is a hell of a lot more important to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane than we would like to admit for it. So me telling you guys what I would do, is not important. Because whatever we feel in this conversation, it's ultimately going to be according to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. And from what I know about Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, I would be shocked if he was even brought in for a workout, if there was even a phone call made to his agent. And that's saying a lot for a guy like Brandon Beane, who calls on virtually anybody. But like I said, I have pulled together a Rolodex of his time in the league. Let's read this together and let's understand what we could be getting from this guy. And then I'll end up going over to the chat, and then I will see if I was able to convince you otherwise to stay away. 2019 to 2021, he was drafted by the New Orleans Saints, and then he was released after the 2021 bounce to the Eagles. Now, went over to the Eagles afterwards. This is what he was known for while he was in New Orleans. He reportedly created internal tension through excessive trash talking that spilled into the locker room, alienating teammates, described as a diva and genuine asshole in anonymous player surveys and reports. Saints declined to tender him as a restricted free agent despite his affordability. Following that, he went to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2022, and this is what was said about him. High maintenance from day one, clash with staff, and felt scapegoated, ejection in late game versus Commanders. Post-Super Bowl run, former Eagle Seth Joyner publicly called him a locker room cancer on a podcast, citing unprofessional behind closed doors behavior. CJ responded defensively on social media, voted most annoying player in the NFL in a 2024 athletic survey. When he was with the Detroit Lions, signed a 1-year deal but was injured. He tore his pec in week 2, as I mentioned previously before this. Post-release, he publicly trashed the Lions secondary as mid, on social media, implying inferiority. This burned bridges with Lions fans and players, called it disloyal, earlier carted off in training camp, visibly upset, adding to the drama. Now it comes into last year, the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. They signed him to a 3-year, $33 million deal, folks. If you're walking away from a player after only 1 year of a $33 million commitment, I think this should just be the red flag that completely sells you from this entirely. Signed a 3-year, $33 million deal, but reignited tensions, publicly feuded with teammate Darius Slay after Slay omitted him from a list of locker room leaders. Also screamed in the locker room post-game versus the Saints. They're no contenders. They're pretenders. They have Derek Carr. Remember that. Blame for coverage breakdowns and labeled a head case by fans and media. And last but not least, with the Houston Texans, lasted 3 games. They traded for him. They took on his contract. All they needed was 3 games. And they said, fool, get out of this damn locker room. We can't go on ahead and handle this. Acquired via trade, but immediately disruptive. Complained about role, wanting more blitzing, less deep coverage. Criticized secondary teammates publicly/privately, and even requested a trade. Struggled with the scheme. 3 big plays leading to touchdowns versus Rams, Bucks, and Jags. Sources cited friction and him as a disruptive voice. Folks, this right here is a resume. This is not just a couple of one-off situations that we've heard throughout his career. He's been in the league since 2019. We have heard this from every single team that he has ever been associated with. And we're like, it's going to be different in Buffalo. Come on. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Look, how I look at this defense is maybe a bit differently than a lot of people. Would I like this team to not continue to pull in the bend but not break mentality? Absolutely. I think that is I think it's an awful strategy to run a defense, right? But one thing Buffalo does almost better than anybody, and I challenge you to answer this question right here. Some of you might come up and say, oh, well, like we really can't rely on this. Hear me out. Can you guys remember the last time that Buffalo lost the turnover battle? Like, can you? Because I can't. I cannot remember the time that Buffalo has not won the turnover battle within the past couple of years. I think, hands down, that's the sexiest thing that your defense can do, is create a turnover and hand the ball back to your elite quarterback marching down the field to take the lead. That's something Buffalo does well. Would I like a better safety tandem? For sure. But half of the reason why I think all of us don't like the safety tandem is still the idea that Damar Hamlin is on the team. Folks, Damar has not been playing. I feel like we don't hate the safety room as much as we're trying to convince ourselves, because we were convinced that Damar Hamlin was going to be the starter this year. But no, it's been Cole Bishop. It's been Taylor Rapp. Last game, I really don't blame a lot of safety play, right? Especially since Tua had an average of 1.6 yards, average depth of target. So my thing is that I don't believe that the juice is worth the squeeze. I just don't believe that that's the case. So that's my take on the whole situation. And so I feel like we're fine defensively. And so I think that our pass rush is certainly starting to wake up. I think that has been significantly improved. Secondary wasn't our issue last year. It was far, far more of a concern with us being unable to get to the quarterback, because as many of you already know, I say this all the time, and it's something that I believe is ingrained in my DNA. A good pass rush is always going to elevate an average secondary, but an incredible secondary is never going to elevate a below average pass rush. And so far, Buffalo has all but appeared to have improved it. And we still have 2 players on suspension. We were missing out on Ed Oliver for the past 2 games, and Matt Milano, of course, was out as well. So I don't think our defense is as much of a concern as we're wanting to buy into. I think that we're about to see a couple of games where we're looking at this squad and we're like, holy hell, mission accomplished into fixing this damn defense. That's where I'm at. But anyway, let's get to the chat, see what people have to say. We got Calvin coming in. Last time we lost the turnover battle was week 18 against the Dolphins in the 2023 season. Holy cow, right? Right? We have not lost the turnover battle in God knows how long. That's something we do well. Like, would you rather have a team, right? Like, this is a really good question to me, right? And it's heavily debated. I'm not mad if somebody chooses the former, but for me, I would rather have a team that leads in turnover differential than a team that's like top 3 in run defense and like pass defense, but with like no turnovers, right? That's my choice. And because turnovers are the true measuring stick in being able to win some of those important games. So that's kind of always been my mentality behind it. Guys, we have 236 of you on YouTube right now, 142 on X, and 48 of you on Facebook. Guys, do me a favor. As you are coming in, please hit that thumbs up sign. If there's 237 of you on YouTube, there's got to be 237 like buttons. Let's propel this out to the YouTube algorithm so we can recruit more family members into our live chat. Now I'm going to let you guys take control of the conversation. Bill Karcher is coming in. Hey, Dano. Bill from Lockport. How much better will we be on defense when we have a defensive lineman, Michael Hoyt, and defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi back? What's your opinion? I can't wait. I feel like Hoyt is going to be much more of a needle mover for us, man. He looks so good, especially during the back half of the season with LA. He had a couple of splash plays during the preseason. As far as Ogunjobi, dude, I don't know if he's really going to be having a lot of games where he isn't a healthy scratch, because nobody thought that Deion Walker was going to develop as fast as he did. And surprisingly enough, I do think that Daquan Jones played very well this previous Thursday night. And so he did, right? And with Larry Ogunjobi, he's more of a 3-tech guy, right? Like, he's not so much like your backup 1-tech and everything. And like, I look at the pass rush specialists. Sean McDermott likes to switch over the guys. Sometimes you see Deion at 1-tech. Sometimes you see him at 3-tech. I would not be surprised if Larry Ogunjobi is a healthy scratch for quite a few games, based off of the development we've seen from our rookies on the interior already. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, you want to be able to see the youth make that step in their NFL career earlier rather than later. But yeah, Bills D is good with turnovers, but are below average in basically everything else. Against the Chiefs, who are very good at protecting the ball, they always sell. I wouldn't call the Chiefs very good now. We'll see how it goes week 4. Hoyt looked great in preseason. When he comes back, and Oliver and Milano, we are going to be good. Absolutely. Yes, get him to come to Buffalo Bills, playing for the Bills. We have some people saying Bills. Nope. I am putting my foot down. Ravens fan here. I don't see any team stopping the Bills from getting the 1 seed, and Joe Brady is an underrated offensive coordinator. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. We want to go on ahead and savor every single moment that we have with Joe Brady, because I genuinely believe he's going to be a head coach next year. I was shocked when he wasn't a head coach this season, but he elected to stay with Buffalo. I think this is the last year of Joe Brady, regardless of how the season ends. Sometimes you got to take chances on players. Our defense not good, last in the NFL on 3 medium down. But again, we have not lost the turnover battle since 2023. That is our identity. And whether or not that you like to admit it or not, we were still a top 10 defense for the past 2 weeks of the league. Granted, of course. And so we're playing the Jets and the Miami Dolphins. But last year, when everybody on the planet was sitting there talking, oh, this Bills defense is terrible, if you look at any game that really pissed you off about this Buffalo Bills defense, it typically had a common denominator. And that common denominator was that we were missing oftentimes 2 to 3 starters. Matt Milano for the vast majority of the season last year. It took him a while to ramp up. He's hurt again. I know. Sucks. Benford was out during the AFC Championship game, right? Bernard was out during the AFC Championship game. Exact same players that were out the year previous. All playoff losses from this team has boiled down to injuries. And if we haven't learned anything about CJ Gardner Johnson and his history, Do you really think that CJ Gardner Johnson is going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm happy to be a backup? Come on. No way. No, no way whatsoever. It's just how it is. Folks, listen, love Bills Mafia, but I got to remind you, I need to remind each and every single one of you, okay? This is not college football. Like, this is not Alabama versus a random community college out of Arkansas on week 2. We are not going to see 72-3 each and every single week. It's not how this league works. It's not. And another thing that I feel like a lot of us need to learn to accept is it's all about game script. Very oftentimes, a Buffalo Bills team is not going in and planning, okay, we're going to walk into this game and win 72-3. Or like, we're going to walk into this game and go 54-14. Like, we are going to be a defensive masterpiece. A lot of the times, folks, we just go into games saying, all right, yeah, we're going to win. Yeah, we're going to win. And maybe we're going to hold a couple of things close to the vest, not show our best pitches, especially since better competition is going to be down the road. Because, look, and so I got to tell you, like, last year specifically, there were quite a few games last year where we were going up against elite talent, right? I think the Detroit Lions game most specifically, and don't give me the points that the Lions scored in garbage time last year. For the most part, that defense was suffocating for a team that was averaging an absurd amount on the offensive side of the football. It's just how it is, man. Barring injuries, I'm good on bringing in a guy that would be a cancer. I believe with Poyer on the practice squad, I don't really see them bringing in a guy in like that with his toxic background, but no doubt the dude can play, but I think it's similar to the Diggs situation. I'm good on it, right? Y'all really believe in Rapp and Bishop. And so I believe them not to completely destroy the sentiments with the locker room, right? And safety is not important. Safety is not important. And so have y'all seen the average depth of target for quarterbacks for the past couple of years? Guys, we had Josh Allen and Tua combined average depth of target at 2.3, 2.4 yards. Like, no one's stretching the ball downfield anymore. Like, that's how the league is nowadays. So why do we need to invest in some incredible safety when all we're getting are passes into the flat and hoping wide receivers can grab yards after the catch? Say that we were back in 2019 or 2020, sure, I'm fine with going out and spending money on a safety. I am. But whether or not that you like to admit it, Rapp and Cole Bishop are the perfect safety tandem for how the league offensively is transitioning. It's downhill, hard-hitting safeties. Maybe barring a play or two, but I'm not sure about you guys. But when the Buffalo Bills have a bad game and they're still putting up 30 points, they're still putting up 30 points, man. It's how it is. We have Bordemer. A toxic player may not hurt the Bills this year, but can damage the team in 2026 and beyond. Bills and 49ers go to the Super Bowl. Eric's coming in. He's hoping for the best. Derrick Henry only looked good against the Bills, but I guess ever since that week 1 fumble, he looks broken. Did the Bills break Derrick Henry? I don't know. Don't think this team needs another cancer going into week 4. And so against the Saints, 3-0. We have so Armando and Covina. Let's go, Buffalo. What's going on, Armando and Covina? I hope all is well with you. Thank you so much. I'm more excited for Hoyt because of his versatility. And with Ogunjobi wasn't good last season. Say that he comes back, he's probably going to be a healthy scratch. Like, barring some injury, let's hope not. We will see. We have American Arrogance. Dan, you're the man. Sorry I'm late. Love what you do. This is by far the best place to be for Bills coverage. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And so I appreciate all of you for tuning in and always showing me a little bit of love. The culture matters. Leave dude where he is. Absolutely. So you know where CJ Gardner Johnson's name just resonates, right? Las Vegas Raiders. It rings perfectly. It's perfect. That's the kind of team that's willing to bet on a player that might have some issues with the locker room. Hey, Dan, my opinion. And so our defense would be worse with Gardner, and the defense would be worked up over arguing. If anything, I'll take him for a 1 year. Our strength is our line. Can't win everywhere. For sure, folks. Since we are in a salary cap league, there is going to be weaknesses somewhere on your roster. Some teams are in a far worse position than Buffalo. Folks, I could guarantee you that, say, for example, you were to ask the Cincinnati Bengals, just be like, hey, would you switch rosters with the Buffalo Bills? They would in a heartbeat. They would in a heartbeat. Switch salary cap situations with them. So many teams in this league have holes everywhere. And so the Miami Dolphins would switch to the Buffalo Bills in a heartbeat. Because how many holes does the Miami Dolphins roster have? Several. This Buffalo Bills team is very fortunate where we have a hole in the safety room. Maybe some of you can say CB2. Maybe. But I promise you that we are in a very good position as far as diversity with above average to good rooms all across the board. That goes out to Brandon Bean. And that's something I think that we can sort of agree with. Hey, Dan, I'm your biggest fan. Connor, thank you so much, man. I'm your biggest fan, bro. I am your biggest fan, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We got a $10 donation coming in the building from Jeffrey. Hey, man, bro in the back is looking at me weird. You feel me? And so nothing like a right hook to go on ahead and humble Bob. You know what I mean? Folks, say that you're new here. I have Bob always with me at any given moment. Shit. He's leaking. And so my boy Bob's leaking right now, bro. He pissed himself. He pissed himself right afterwards. Or Pepper's looking good right about now. We have Michelle's coming in. I'd rather have Justin Simmons than CJ. Yes and no. So my thing about Justin Simmons is this. Why hasn't a team brought him in yet? Right? I think that's probably my biggest concern with him. Bill should make a trade for a safety. We badly need one to pair up with Rapp every single snap. I mean, do we? So do we though? Right? Like, so here's how I look at it, right? This league does not push the ball downfield anymore. Most games you watch, like the average depth of target is significantly low. Like last Thursday, we saw Josh Allen have what, like a 3.2 average depth of target. We had Tua like 1.7. Like that's what this league is. If you can scheme at too high safety shell, teams are not testing that too often. Many people are coming out saying that the too high safety shell is ruining the game. I feel like that's kind of how we have to look at it all. And so I think CJ would be a good pickup. Sometimes you have to take chances on players. I think he is worth it. So agree to disagree. I am not going to police how people fan, right? So for me, like my opinion is that I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. But again, I'm going to maintain my thought process on this. It doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter what you feel. It doesn't matter what anybody feels. Really, at the end of the day, it's what is Sean McDermott and Brandon Bean going to feel about the situation? Are they feeling desperate enough to take that risk after just being a year and a half removed from another locker room concern and Stephon Diggs? I mean, and so I don't think so, but yeah. And so I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't even get a call. Hey, Dan, my opinion, can't afford him, won't happen. Also, we have to have losses. Our front seven is outstanding, especially in depth. Just have to stay healthy. Love our front seven. That's the most important part of a defense. That's what our issue was last year, in my opinion, was lack of pass rush. I could care less if you have the most elite secondary in the league. If your defensive line does not create pressure on the quarterback, one of those playmakers is going to get open. It's just how it is. If a quarterback has 7 seconds to find the open man, I promise you, he's an NFL quarterback. He will find the open man. That's how it is. Get to the quarterback, man. That is number one for me. So Milano has not played the whole season for the last 3 years. We need to let him go. He's now injury prone. We shaved off a year on his deal. So this is the final year of Matt Milano in general. I would have preferred Peppers, and he was not that expensive. Warren is coming in. Our safeties suck. They can't tackle. Why risk the season? They are extremely slow. But we're 3-0. We haven't lost a turnover battle since 2023. So that's something I look for in a defense. I would much rather have a questionable safety room than a team that never creates turnovers. Again, we're in a salary cap league. There's going to be holes across the roster everywhere. And folks, I got to tell you, if there is one room on an NFL roster that I am willing to have average play, it's safety any day of the week. Any day of the week. This secondary is in a much better position than a lot of teams in the NFL. A lot. Like, so many teams don't have a true CB1. So many teams don't have a top 5 slot corner. So many teams don't have linebackers that excel in coverage and in run defense. And so many teams don't have the defensive line that we have created so far. If you want to make our safety room so elite, and I promise you guys, I know that we like names, right? Like, we're like, oh my God, Peppers, man. Simmons, man. Like, he's going to come in and fix this whole thing. Folks, why have they not been signed? There's often things, and so I think that we get married into names, and we think that we're getting the same player that they were 3 to 4 years ago. But one thing I can promise you, these GMs know a lot more than me. If Simmons, Peppers is not signed yet, then there's often a reason, right? That's kind of how I look at it. Sunzi is coming in. If Bishop can't tackle, then why is he leading the team in tackles? Fellow mods holding down the fort, I see, and being awesome per the norm. Morning, fellas. Walter S. is coming in. I saw that. Hopefully he can be a Stark contributor soon. With Bishop is playing better lately, but Rapp is injury prone, and Hamlin is still third. He's not a bad backup safety. Smash that like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never miss a beat. Cecil is coming in. Yeah, Walter, Landon needs to get some snaps versus the Saints. Yeah, he does. Because God knows he needs some damn development up in this league. Mike All is coming in. Peppers signed with the Steelers and got 2 turnovers so far. Pretty good. Good for Peppers. Charles is coming on in. Dan, because of our schedule, we have a true shot at the number 1 seed. Let's keep our eyes on the prize. Absolutely. All right. That's going to have to do it, ladies and gentlemen. And so I wanted to hop on here for a quick little show. I will be live on Roundtable Sports, 4th and Forever, here in about an hour and 45 minutes. Say, for example, that you guys would like to tap into that. That is our daily NFL news show on the Roundtable Sports Network. We have a great time over there. A lot of topics that still need to be discussed. We're going to start previewing the Thursday night game going into Sunday. Thank you so much for always coming in and showing me a little bit of love, guys. You know, it's still so humbling to know that each and every single one of you like to make me a part of your morning routine, whether or not that you're using this as some white noise in the background, whether or not that like you're using this to speed up your work day. I'm here for you, and I appreciate it. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up sign, subscribe. For all of you watching the replay of this video, please consider turning on those bell notifications. We want to get you in here live in the live chat, man. We need more conversation in here. Let's go ahead and lock it in. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you here in just a bit. Peace.